What song are you talking about?
Everybody's waiting for the man with the bag, not the man with the crown. Christmas is here again.
You weren't close.
I mean, here's the thing. A lot of these songs are good. Not any of the ones that are good are written by anyone other than Casey Musgraves. So that's not one of them.
Wow. Can you bonk him since you're sitting right next to him, Dylan?
That was a bonk.
I don't know if you guys saw my Christmas movie draft, but a lot of people have been talking about it. Any glaring omissions that y'all saw from the circling back guys? I don't know if you had a chance to pursue our lists on the Twitter.
I don't know. Did you see the poll that's going on, Dave? About who won the Christmas movie draft?
Oh, that poll.
It's getting ugly.
What do you mean?
Like somebody's lapping the field.
It looks like you got poll assassinated.
It's not you, my friend.
Did you see the poll assassin monkey guy,
You know that we're
coordinator guy
recording?
sued?
You know that we're recording?
Oh, yes. I will stop looking at half-nude people on my computer. I don't know what this promoted suite is, but it's
you can look at whatever
Tim
you want to.
And,
KJ, this is the adult tour. We can say whatever the hell we want.
All right. Well, I will put away whatever movie Tim Allen was like overly tanned and in a Speedo in off of my computer screen. And I will put myself in the penalty box for just, thinking about Casey Musgraves in the morning.
What is Tim Allen doing?
Being hot, overly tanned, and in a Speedo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's podcast. Too much dip. Monday. My name's Dave. Back at it again with the cold open, man. You know what I mean? People are really digging it.
You're unhinged, David.
Look, I don't care.
Oh, now he's backwards hat guy.
When people tune into Too Much Dip, they know they're going to get one thing at least, and it's just a host who just doesn't care. Like, he's not afraid to go there. And that guy is me. I'm Dave. Over there, we got KJ.
Can I break a little bit of news off the top here?
Okay.
Football star Rodgers in the hospital with COVID. That'd be Nebraska legend, former Heisman Trophy winning Johnny Rodgers, who won the 1972 Heisman Trophy.
Johnny Rodgers.
70 years old, feeling much better,
Good.
Really hoping for the best there.
Hey, can you give me an update on his vaccination status?
Enough to be feeling okay. How about that? HIPAA.
Was he immunized?
HIPAA.
That is HIPAA. Great point. I won't ask anything else. That's good. When you said Rodgers, I mean, I could have gone a number of directions. I was thinking maybe it was the SEC analyst, Jordan.
I was thinking
Rodgers.
Mr.
Okay.
As in neighborhood.
Well, he's dead. He's passed away long ago.
His spirit lives with us and everyone who respects the greatness that is Daniel Tiger's neighborhood.
We know that the Tom Hanks movie was kind of odd, right?
Didn't watch it.
I haven't seen it. I don't care to.
That looked like painful nostalgia to me.
Yeah.
It had the Americans guy in it that makes me uncomfortable. Well, I really like, good actor, but it's a little too deep into the darkness.
Jeez. Speaking of nostalgia, Dylan Shivery,
Hey,
TF
man.
Total Frat Move Zone.
What is it?
Formerly.
I'm gonna chalk that up to an old person joke.
One of the rowdy gentlemen.
The original Rowdy Gentleman,
no,
according to
that's
that
all.
guy at the gym.
That's all in my past, thankfully.
No gentleman was rowdier in your peak.
Do you?
Just a rabble rouser.
Again, happy to be here. It's a lot of fun, like sports adjacent things are going on right now. Like, yeah, there's sports, but it's all field stuff. It's transfers and it's coaching changes. It's still in the one seed in his fantasy football league, stuff like that.
Okay.
It's just fun stuff.
It's playoff time, baby.
Yeah, I think it is.
This is the first year I made 0 trades.
I think I made one. I think I traded away Kyle Pitts mid-season. Turned out to be a great decision. I can't recall who I got for him, but I know I made the playoffs. But real quick, while we were talking about sports adjacent stuff, when's the last time, I guess was your last, like what you would say, non-workout sports involved event, the dunk or the rim attempt?
The rim
The last
attempt.
The last time I was I guess in a
non-workout athletic endeavor.
Oh,
Because you wouldn't call that like you played a sport, but you know.
I mean, I played golf not so long ago.
I agree. Played. I just go golf.
Golf guy here.
Hashtag chat is punching air right now.
I think you trying to get rim is equivalent to like home run derby or backyard wiffle ball. It's in the same. It's not actually playing the sport, but it's a part of the sport.
Okay, yeah.
Fungo.
You thought I was making a rim joke
No.
because you pulled up on Spreewells today, but I wasn't. I wasn't going to tell people that so you couldn't be identified when you're outside of the office. But
I opened the
now
curtain
they
a
know.
minute ago. They're still spinning out there.
Dude, they just won't stop.
No.
They're don't stoppers.
Uh-huh. It's kind of wild.
Hey, guess who's here?
I can see them.
It's a guy who needs no introductions. Brett Merriman.
A guy
Big
who-
game Brett.
Yeah, a guy who has done something sports adjacent most recently.
I have. In fact, I played pickup hockey last week. It was
Ice hockey.
ice hockey. Oh, yeah. Dave and I have been talking about getting back in the roller game for a minute. This
Okay.
was straight up on the ice.
Just not league yet for me. Probably not for me. I'm significantly older. I have much more to lose with my body,
Mm-hmm.
hips and things like that. But just going out, just putting some pucks on net with some gloves on, some skates.
Y'all hitting and shit?
Stick and puck? No, we
Stick and
don't
puck.
hit. You're not
Okay,
supposed
good.
to hit.
I was going to say, you're going to get hurt, dude. I don't
Although there are some beer leagues that play basically pond hockey, where it's very slow paced and like you can get around out there. This league was very much the boys are buzzing around.
I have a hockey question for you. The cage helmet, is it available to everyone at all times? And it's just like a macho thing, like you just don't use it?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
thought so.
Is
traditionally,
it an impediment?
what's that?
Is it an impediment to like being able to see the puck? Or
No, I mean, what you get used to it.
Yeah.
So it's just like wearing
just a hockey guy
rec
thing.
specs or something like that. But you take it off, so in theory, I guess your vision is better. But then you put a shield on, so your eyes aren't getting punched to the.
I always wanted to be a visor guy.
I'm a cage guy through and through.
That's fine.
I'm a Moderna
See,
guy.
it was traditionally like, oh, if you have a cage on in men's league, you're a pussy, right? Now the establishment has come around. Like if you're wearing a cage at beer league, like no shit, that's probably a smart move.
You know, like in the NFL, December, January rolls around and it's like you're playing outdoors and it's snowy and the O-line, 100% of them, no sleeves.
Yep.
And it's
Can't have
like,
sleeves.
Their arms don't get
it's like
cold.
just throw sleeves on. You know you're going to be more comfortable, but it's just like in the locker room, it's like, oh, you're a big P if you do that. Like throw them in the trash. We're not wearing these today. Like, all right, we'll just be miserable for 4 hours. That's cool.
Yeah, they
Kinda
usually
one
put
of those.
Vaseline on their arms too. You know that?
Is that big facts?
One, it keeps the heat in. Two, you kind of slip off if you're coming at them.
KJ, can you confirm? I know you're not
yes,
an O
that,
lineman,
but
but-
I was just waiting on the Stone Temple Pilots to be introduced.
Sometimes it blows my mind.
Or am I saying, or is it Bush that I was waiting on?
Glycerine.
They did glycerine, which is the same amount of
Nah,
syllables, so you
that's-
could.
Yeah, I don't know what I was waiting on, but I was
The original
expecting
version
some-
was Vaseline. It just
Yeah.
didn't sound as good. Vaseline.
Yes, you will get the slippery sleeve thing. I had a teammate whom I won't name, but he had a regurgitation, like reflux situation that would happen when he would
Regurgitation.
just like drink too much water.
Ooh.
You know, and he'd like clear his throat and spit up a little bit. So if you're listening to this during your lunch break, you know, slow it down and listen to this at 0.75 speed. But he would like sometimes miniature vomit onto himself, and his whole front of his jersey and sometimes his arms would be covered in like just sheen, and you wouldn't know, was it just spit up a little bit of water or did, you know, you got a little Subway left over in there? It's just not good. Not
You
Just
should
good.
get
like
that
Dylan.
checked out by a ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Yeah, a GI, I would probably say,
GI,
yes.
gastro.
Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe all of the above.
Well, somebody needs to fix it. How many days ago was this event?
This was Thursday night.
How do you feel yesterday or today?
100% today. Friday was miserable.
Okay.
So I had with hockey, it's like you kind of the hands stay. It's like riding a bike in a way. The lunge go quickly. That's
Yeah.
the first time I've skated full speed in 6 years, which was just one alumni game. So the first time before that was about 3 years prior. So like 9 years since I've been playing full speed hockey.
I feel like that might be amongst the most difficult pickup and or intramural type sport to try to, you know, go back and just
Dude,
jump in for a game.
without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, you got to learn. You kind of got to relearn skating a little. There were some situations where I was a little over my skis, if you will. But you kind of get into it pretty quick, and it really was the lunge and the legs that weren't there. I had about we skated for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Shouts to my group text is now Harbs, Fitzy, Shacker, and Nails. Shouts to the boys.
Okay. The hockey nickname.
Who is this guy?
We skated for an hour and a half. I had about 17 minutes in my legs, and then after that, it was a heavy diet of coasting and no bat checking.
What did you do immediately afterward?
We drank for about 2.5 hours in the locker room.
Okay, that doesn't necessarily help the recovery process.
Did you drop gloves or what?
No, you don't really toss mitts. You don't Donnybrook in these situations unless somebody, says something about your girlfriend or fiance or wife.
Did somebody say something about Bay?
No.
Okay.
Like they were like, "How's she feeling after her surgery?" So yeah, I don't know. Oh, pretty good.
Okay.
Actually, I should ask. Be like, did anybody know her? And somebody would know her because it's a lot of mid-30s guys who work in real estate. And
Dylan.
I was saying like your Bay, but yeah. Either way.
I mean, you did
People
claim
just bring
that
out
name
Dylan's
to be
fiance.
singular.
Yeah.
As far as this goes, is this a singular event, or do you seriously think you're going to?
No, this is
a season-long commitment.
Yeah, it is going to. So I missed like the draft. It's pretty serious. So
Oh my God.
I draft dodged this year. So I can't go in until the next league starts up, which I believe is spring or summer, something
You're
like
a free
that.
agent.
So I'm a free agent. So I'm on the sub list. Like if a team is short a guy, they call me up as a mercenary.
So you're going to
Dude,
get
a
called
merc.
regularly.
I will be called probably like every night. It's like a substitute teacher in a district of.
Dude, you should bring a karaoke
Yeah.
machine.
You
Why?
should do toxic.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay.
I fully expected you to text like Friday afternoon, like I can't walk, or like I can't leave my bed, I'm so sore. But
So-
you did not bitch about it at all. In fact, I'd forgotten about it until this morning.
Yeah, no, the groins were pretty sore and the
Yeah.
legs were like gassed, but everything else was pretty okay. And then I got boosted on Friday.
Oh, nice.
Shouts to Pfizer.
Yeah.
So I got boosted on Friday, and Saturday I was like body chill sore from that, I think. But that could have also been 2 days after hockey.
Yeah, the day after, not the day after, 2 days later, in the recent years where I played adult flag football, which can get fairly competitive, especially in Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I'm sure it's similar in other big cities, but places where you've got one of two types of athletes in that area, where you have, the ones who didn't play a lot, not saying I did, but maybe didn't play after high school or maybe didn't play in high school at all, like my brother has continued to play flag football until he'll be 40 next year, and he plays once, twice a week because he's got a lot
for
left
him.
in the tank.
Good for him.
Or you'll have people who are just like, Ramont Taylor has been out there in the past, like legitimate athletes who at some point in time did not continue their career, and it is very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Say all that to say, I can hardly stand like 24 to 48 hours afterwards, and I almost strictly play defense in those settings just because I'm like, yeah, even my fittest post-grad situation, it is too much.
Sports story from the past that is not discussed enough is when Kevin Durant, in his early years with the Thunder, took an invite, I believe on Twitter, probably on Twitter. That makes sense for him.
Rucker Park?
No, not Rucker Park. Stillwater. Drove to Stillwater
Same
to
thing,
play flag football, intramural flag football with a fraternity, a random fraternity, and just went and played.
What?
That is, I totally remember that
Really?
story. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
I do not.
And like the thought of, something bad happening to your franchise cornerstone, who would never lead your Oklahoma City Thunder to a title. Unfortunately, then he would leave to go to the Golden State Warriors, where he would win said title. It's just a crazy story that I feel like is never going to happen again.
He's now my favorite football player. Yeah, favorite football player. Give it to him. Favorite basketball player in the last 25 years. That's not named Dirk.
Easy money sniper.
Yeah.
The Slim Reaper.
Everything
a good
about
one.
this I love.
Did you find the story?
Yeah, it's great.
I do remember that now.
It is great.
There was a minute when I was telling that, I was like, was that fake? Because I
I've
could have
never
been
heard it.
fooled.
This is all news to me, and that's incredible.
You got to think he was a red zone threat.
Yeah, not a lot of guys that can go up there and get it over him.
No.
Do you think he would have demanded to play QB though?
No.
You know what? Now that you say that, I think that might have been part of the deal.
Oh, he's like, I'll play if only if I can play Q.
You don't want your cornerstone, second overall draft pick out there running routes.
He might have, like maybe on a throwback situation.
Yeah,
But because why not exploit that weakness in the defense?
Man, where's Greg Oden?
I was not aware
Come
of during the 2011 lockout that Team LeBron and that time LeBron and Kevin Durant played each other in a flag football contest at
Really?
the indoor facility at the University of Akron. And all of LeBron's team had University of Texas jerseys and white pants on. Like they're just wearing jerseys and football pants with thigh pads in. And then LeBron, of course, because he pretends to be an Ohio State fan until he's not, he's just wearing the St. Vincent, St. Mary's, like gold jerseys and gold pants for this fence. So
That's tight.
I need to go back and watch this.
Was it-
Apparently, it was like 60 to 70.
Streamed on Bleacher Report.
It might have been. It was a YouTube thing. and
I
it's
would've
all
watched that.
online.
That's something I would've
we'll
watched.
break this down when there's no more sports. We got a lot of the sports.
Brett, appreciate you hopping on. You want to
Yeah.
stick around and talk college football or something?
I would love to, but I gotta do the other this thing.
He's got a thing.
Can I borrow Brett to cuck a sports party story off the top just to throw off our rundown? But I think he has insight.
Please.
Breaking news. We have a dead participant in one of the nation's largest sports events of last year. The horse, Medina Spirit, owned by Bob Baffert.
Yeah, that
Oh.
fucking squid Bob Baffert, scumbag who shoots his horses up with all kinds of absolutely borderline shit. What an asshole he is. He doesn't tip in Saratoga either. He's a scumbag.
Damn.
Few people know that he'll tip in Albany, but once he crosses the city lines,
Oh,
not
buddy.
in Saratoga.
If you're tipping in Albany but not Saratoga, you are after the wrong product,
Man.
my friend. Or service, I guess.
Yes,
Let me
that's true.
reclassify that.
What was the cause of death?
Being owned by Bob Baffert. I have no idea.
Cause of death,
It was-
Baffert.
So
Yes.
it was sudden. It wasn't like it broke an ankle and I was like, got to take him out back.
Man.
But I guess it was a sudden thing, which usually
Can't even
points
fix
to
a horse's bones.
medical misuse of a drug or something. I mean, it happens too.
Bones
Like
are
horses,
their money, David.
horses die, but
And this is a Kentucky Derby winner, so he was already in his like stud life. No more seed coming out of that, so
Damn.
I don't know if you had to say seed.
it's his only job and his monetary value on this earth, not sentimental.
The
value.
seed is his
True.
money?
nut
you
money.
remember
if you
remember
will.
American
Okay.
Pharaoh, David?
Yeah.
He's going to make like 30 times as much studying as he did on the racetrack.
Is that the one who wrote the Boston Globe article like about all the priests or the Me Too journalists?
And that is
I think that's kind of a stretch.
What,
unbelievable.
Roman Pharaoh?
I'm lost, KJ.
it was
more of
American
a
Pharaoh.
Jackie McMullen fan myself, if we're talking.
Oh yeah,
locally.
yeah. There you go.
Shout out to Jackie.
Well,
Hall of
shout out
Famer.
to Medina Spirit. We
Rest in peace.
Shout out to your family. Your horse
Him and
family.
Barbaro,
Shout out to his family.
Mm-hmm.
Smarty Jones,
Big
Big Brown.
Brown. Yes,
Big Brown.
There you go. 'Cause-
Also, rest in peace, Big Black.
and Big Black. Man Ponds.
What?
22, son. 22s.
Oh, thank you, Brett.
Thanks, guys.
That
Way
was
to go,
good.
Brett.
We'll have you back in a minute to
Would be
talk to
offensive
Stars
if,
goaltending.
Please don't tear
situation.
an ACL.
Kadobin. Let me be the first to break this from NRD's own, or Cold Stove's own NRD. Kadobin is on the move.
Really?
Whoa,
Wow, dude.
Dobie.
Kadobin.
I call him Dobes.
You Dolbin!
We're not going home. This isn't
We went
your
home.
anymore.
We went home. We made it a
Yeah.
long way, but we ended up
Yes,
going home.
we did go home shortly thereafter.
Guys, can we talk college football?
Itching.
We miss anything?
Move that microphone, if you will. To your left, correct. There we go.
Professional.
All right. Let's knock out the college football carousel. We saw the college football championship games. We can touch on those a little bit, but I think there's a bigger story that we want to talk about. First, Lincoln Riley pieced out to Norman, Oklahoma last week. We knew that. It's weird to say a 1 week long search took a long time.
That felt like a month.
But when you juxtapose it with Miami's search taking -2 hours, they had a coach and they fired theirs after they hired the other one. It took a while, but they got Brent Venables, former DC at Oklahoma, former DC at Clemson.
No OU fan ever had a bad thing to say about Venables during his tenure, ever.
His departure from OU, which I think was 2011, I couldn't remember exactly how it went down, but I think I said on here he was kind of run out of town, and I went and looked it up. So OU's defense was struggling, and so they hired Mark Stoops. Is it Mark or Mike?
Mark.
One of the Stoop
Plus
Mark. To be co-defensive coordinator to kind of hold Venables' hand, I think, because he was
embarrassing,
not doing well, and that led to his departure to Clemson. So it wasn't like,
and they ran Stoops out of town.
He wasn't like forced out of town, but he was like, we got another guy here.
It was Mike plus Mike.
There's a Mike, a Mark, and a Bob.
Correct.
You know what? That's on the parents. Shout out to his family.
Shout out to his family.
Make it a little easier for the pods out there, folks.
And so, of course, he went to Clemson and has done very well for Clemson. I think this is a good hire. I don't think it's like a slam dunk hire. I think it's a good hire.
I'm wondering. All my OU friends, all my OU follows are putting on a strong, brave face. They're being very happy about this, excited. They're talking about how they're comparing the Venables introductory press conference and everything to Lincoln Riley's. Now Lincoln Riley's was so meh, right? But whatever. I'm wondering how they really feel, because there was a moment Saturday after Baylor wins the Big 12, that I'm texting with T-Man about Aranda. I'm thinking Aranda's leaving for OU. T-Man, I don't want to out him as my source, tells me maybe it came down to money. Maybe there was a conversation there. I don't know. I don't know where he's getting it from. But Venables is good. I don't know how well he recruits.
I don't know what his rep is.
What he did at Clemson is notable. I mean, like, their record after he went there is
gross. Speaks
speaks for itself. Well, he probably did that.
Sure. Yeah, so they got the guy.
Yay. Oh, no.
As a Texas fan, I'm okay with this. You might do great.
I feel like, if anything, you should be happy they get. I gotta stop scrolling on the internet while we're doing this. I usually have an iPad so that I don't have this, and I'm just getting served just random clickbait. It's not.
But
good.
you were scrolling.
I was scrolling.
It piqued your interest.
Okay. In not my defense,
Just a random slut
I
site
shouldn't
over
have
there.
been clicking on articles that said, "Who is Brent Venables' wife, Julie Venables?" Like, there's no reason for me to go down that rabbit hole.
Do I
per
need to
se.
look?
No, it's a clickbait article on that site. Anyhow, if I'm a Texas fan, or even as an Oklahoma fan, they got a guy that was tied to the job. This isn't hey, we had to go out and hire the next in line group of 5 coach type person, or promote some assistant coach somewhere that's unproven, or wait around for Joe Brady, maybe, who we know I don't think is going to come back and be a head coach. And we can get to that later. But Oregon, they got a legitimate name that they were after.
Yeah.
So there's no excuses, basically. If Texas turns around and whoops them next year, you can't say, "Oh, well, Venables just getting familiar." Like, he knows what a successful program looks like. He took over a successful program. He brought enough clout to continue that success. So if they fail, even in the short term, he's getting his guys in. Well, Lincoln's guys were pretty good too. So
Do we know status of Caleb Williams?
He's been pretty quiet from what I've seen.
they're getting the OC from not Western Kentucky, from Ole Miss, who's highly respected. So I have a feeling that he is his first task, which is so ridiculous.
Bill Bedenbaugh.
Yeah. Oh no, Bedenbaugh's gone.
Bedenbaugh's gone?
Yeah, he's going with.
Jeff Levy. That's right. I'm
Levy.
sorry.
Yeah, Bedenbaugh, noted asshole, is
God, he looks like an asshole.
offensive line coach. Really, really good O-line coach, who's now going to USC, I believe. But no, Jeff Levy from Ole Miss. It's just weird to me to think you get a job and your first job is not just introduce yourself and win the room. You've got to go recruit your own players to make sure they don't leave and transfer, which is just bizarre. But I guess that's what his first book of business is.
I'm imagining it is a team activity with Stoops being Bob Stoops, that is, being a big part of that. Like you think he's helping them recruit? Like, I know he's obviously coaching will he still be coaching the bowl game?
Yeah, I think he's still interim head coach.
Okay. I'm wondering how much he's involved in like retaining those players.
Probably a lot.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
It'll only enhance his followers.
Sure.
You have to think, I can't believe they didn't go after like a guy who coached a program that got absolutely boat raced by Utah twice in like 3 weeks. Because that's what Miami did.
Yeah, it's probably one of those where he's a Miami native and a Miami alum who's
Cristobal.
Mario Cristobal, as we were talking about, former coach of Oregon. I don't know if you give him a little bit of forgiveness in that situation, like maybe just styles make fights. Like his team wasn't built to beat that Utah team.
That Utah team is playing really, really well, and not just against Oregon. And Cam Rising, former Longhorn great.
Oh, yeah.
Good looking dude, you were saying this weekend, right?
He's very handsome.
Dude,
He's like
I mean,
young Gallagher.
that was not a fluke. That was clearly not a fluke. That was not even a game. I was really disappointed because I was thinking that would have been a fun game to watch Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
But it was over pretty quick.
I guess good luck to Miami. I wonder if they knew about this when Rhett Lashley, their former offensive coordinator, left to take the SMU job. Like they knew they were going to make a change. Oregon now becomes the most prominent open job in the country.
Aranda's trending.
Dave Aranda is atop the list of what I'm seeing.
They just throw out these ESPN college football. They just throw it out there as if like, and people are like, oh, maybe they know something.
You want to guess any of the other 4 or 5 that are on the list?
Ooh, Lane Kiffin.
No, Lane's not on that list.
For which position?
For Oregon head coach. Just which names keep getting thrown out for head coaching positions in the United States for college football?
I can't really help you.
I think I
Fickles.
understand.
Luke Fickle's name
Fickles has
always
gotta be.
comes up.
Oh, the Fick.
Aranda.
Yeah.
Dave Aranda has popped up more recently. And then the other one is otherguy.com.
Gary Patterson.
No, his name should be coming up. Like,
Imagine him at
even if he
Oregon.
doesn't want the job, he should be coming up for every job out there.
That's what's crazy to me. Other than like how that whole thing went down, is that his name outside of like the message board or maybe whatever that article was about Gary being like on the Texas staff in some capacity, in an advisory role. His name has not been out there for anything.
It's almost like he built a program from the absolute dog house ground up and then tore that program down over time by just being a shitty person and a bad recruiter overall. It's just wild that people would see it that way, and I don't think it's fair.
I don't know. He wasn't that bad of a recruiter.
Yeah, Max Duggan, awesome quarterback. No, I can't recall the other one. Jeff Tedford not Tedford, but current head coach at Cal shows up, and then Chip Kelly's name
I heard
comes up on
Chip
this.
Kelly I saw.
Okay.
Where's he now?
He's at UCLA still, and they made a little run earlier in this year. Remember, they're like 5-0, and then dropped like 2 or 3 games later. But
Okay.
I'd rather see Chip Kelly back at Oregon with a new leash and new lease on life than Chip Kelly on his last leg at UCLA versus Lincoln Riley at UCLA USC.
Where did he go after Oregon? Philly?
Philly,
Oregon to Philly.
and then UCLA.
And then UCLA. Okay. That's interesting. Aranda's, I don't know.
That's not the job if I'm him.
No, like I think LSU was the job, and for whatever reason that didn't happen. Which is great for Baylor, great for, my household, but I don't know. You want to get into that game, Big 12 championship?
I'm sure you consumed it in more detail than me. What was your takeaway, knowing that you went into it cautiously optimistic? In fact, I think you might have picked against Baylor.
No, I picked Baylor,
Oh.
but I didn't feel good picking
Got it.
Baylor. It was a game that mimicked the first time they met, in that Spencer Sanders turned the ball over like crazy. Now Baylor was able to capitalize on those turnovers better, but this shouldn't have been a game. Baylor's punt returner muffed one, gave it to Oklahoma State there. But the story was Baylor's defense, Oklahoma State's second half defense, and that goal line stand, two goal line stands in the fourth
from
quarter.
like inside the one. It's
Insane.
Not like,
And people are all over Gundy for play calling, and I might have thrown a little fuel on that fire, just busting Gundy's balls. But like, I don't know what else he could have done. They're on the one. Like
that last series, I think he called run, pass, and then it was that outside run to the left.
And that's
Baylor's-
where we get the pylon cam from.
yeah.
So they had first and goal from like the 1 foot line. Like that's, I mean, Baylor had absolutely no room to breathe whatsoever. A very, very impressive goal line stand. And like Dave said, that was the second one of the half, I believe. That other one was like on the one also.
Jaron McVay had a pick. He's a six-year senior, had an interception and made that tackle. So that dude,
Wow. About to blow up.
he won't have to buy a beer at Buzzard Billy's off of 35 in Waco, or maybe Twin Peaks,
Maybe at George O's.
Maybe the Dick Saloon.
or the Dick Saloon. That's a good point too. Yeah, that was insane. That's one of the craziest endings you'll see. You rarely see one that close with pylon cam just coming in clutch.
I thought if that dude decided to like turn up and just like throw a shoulder into that guy, he could have easily scored. He tried to outrun him to the pylon. Couldn't do it.
Underestimated that
Too
speed.
early.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was me, I simply would have scored.
Yeah. I would hit him with the little shoulder shimmy and just sidestepped in there.
Oh shit!
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've seen you do that move.
Yeah.
That's
Like a
true.
Bijan style.
Okay.
So Baylor, who won 2 games last season, when the Big 12, they were picked like not last in the Big 12, but a lot of people thought 8th or 9th. And look at them now.
Big 12 champs. What a year
Look at
for
the big.
Baylor.
Look
Holy
at the Big 12's bringing in, losing Texas,
Cincinnati.
losing OU, bringing in Cincinnati, a playoff team,
Mm-hmm.
BYU,
Top 15, top 20.
top 20 for sure, right?
Yeah, it might even be top 15, I think. And then you're getting
Former
UCF.
national champion UCF.
A team that is actually decent. You've got a legitimate big-time head coach at Gus Malzahn, but they lost their quarterback midway through the year, so you can't really fault them for what went on this year.
And U of H,
And then U of H, who's sneaking in there. I mean,
2-loss U of H team that gave Cincinnati.
yeah, they gave
Pretty
them a
good
fight. They
game.
lost to Texas Tech and Cincinnati. They didn't have a tough non-conference schedule outside of Texas Tech, and some would say including Texas Tech. So it's hard to tell how good they are. But I think Big 12 will be okay. Should we be surprised that Alabama cooked Auburn like they did?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Shit. Georgia.
No.
History tells you no. I think I don't know where. Were we all on Georgia? I was on Georgia.
I think it's surprising to see how
All except
well,
for Adam.
how many points the
Fucking A.
offense put up on that defense. That's
Yeah.
surprising, but it's not surprising to see Alabama win the game.
Agreed. I think not enough attention or not enough was discussed about the Georgia defense. I believe they lost a cornerback potentially for the season or for several weeks midway through the year or later in the year, one of their top DBs. And then they also lost their top tackler and outside linebacker midway through the year to a sexual assault charge. And that was noted and talked about a little bit on ESPN. He's been kicked off the team. He's gone. So they have lost some people, but with as good as their defense was, I guess I was under the impression that they had depth. So if you're telling me that Auburn made it more difficult on Alabama than Georgia did, I don't know what to say, but a little bit shocked. Michigan embarrassed Iowa. I'm glad that they did. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm happy for Jim Harbaugh.
I think I've learned a lot about him recently. That he is, his antics aside, like just his general football nerdiness, like he's actually like behind the scenes a good dude as far as like raising money, charity, shit like that.
His
Off the field.
players like playing for. They are happy to be Jim Harbaugh's guys.
When he got let go in San Francisco, I remember the 49ers.
Mhm.
I remember like that being because he left there and it was like, really? They're getting rid of Harbaugh. And like a lot of players like Frank Gore, for example, being really upset about it. And
Yeah.
they spoke very highly of him. So I've always known that he's a player's guy.
And while yes, I think his dad was a coach, it's weird to look at him and like consider him anyway like beneficial of nepotism in that regard. Like the guy is coached at some not shit places, but he's worked his butt up the coaching ladder for sure from a head coaching standpoint at University of San Diego, Stanford, obviously took them from the dungeons, Rose Bowls and whatnot. Successful at San Francisco, successful eventually at Michigan. So, kudos to him. As far as college football 4, we're going to have time to review those games down the line, but just gut feeling or excitement about those 2 games.
The playoff games coming up?
Yep. So you'll have Bama, Cincinnati, right? No. Yeah, Bama, Cincinnati, Michigan.
Georgia.
No,
yeah.
I've got it backwards too.
No, Michigan, Georgia.
Okay.
You're right.
Okay.
That's the game for me because I think those are 2 teams coming in on opposite waves. And I think that's going to be fantastic. I think Alabama, I think they make quick work of Cincinnati. I'm not willing to pick those games yet. Be fair, I have reserve the right to amend these once I see the lines, things of that nature. And these games are like 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away. I hate that.
Yeah, we've got to wait until 3 weeks away because this is December 31st, which they got it right this year. We've got New Year's Eve 3:30 and New Year's Eve 7:30, which it's going to suck if you're trying to get out and get your New Year's Eve on and you're missing Michigan, Georgia.
That's the game.
7:30 p.m. on New Year's Eve.
That's the game I want to see.
They need to bump those times up. They fucked this up a few years back.
That's too late.
You got people out wanting to party and
I'll
get
be
hammered
stepping
by
out.
the end of that game. Yeah.
Be dancing with Dave's girl by that time,
My wife?
Oh yeah.
What do y'all have
Sorry.
planned?
I'm sorry.
We all have plans.
Yeah, Michigan, Georgia, I think is going to be an excellent football game. 2 great defenses. Very excited to see that one. I agree with Dave, though. I think Bama, no, it's an easy pick. I just think Bama takes care of Cincinnati.
They look so
pretty
good.
easily.
They played
They're
their
just the difference of, the caliber of athlete on the field is going to be pretty apparent, I think, in that game.
It'll be
no
fun.
offense to Cincy.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see what Cincy's defense can do because they're a great defense, fast.
Well, I want to talk a lot of Quinn Ewers, but let's knock out. I don't expect us to go through all 30 bowl games, but I'm just going to see if I can't hit some of the highlights, see if any of these stand out or excite y'all. Because December 17th starts bowl season. Inevitably, we're going to get all the hot ass takes as we do on Spotify Rap Day of like, oh man, there's too many bowls and these bowls don't matter. Like these bowls matter a lot to the teams that are there, even if it doesn't look like they care and some players sit out. Like I can't tell you enough what it meant. Like for SMU to go to the Hawaii Bowl in 2006 or 7, I guess it was in 2007. No, maybe it was 2009. I've got my years all jacked up. In 2009, for a program that had been completely erased and starting over from scratch and then climbing back to that point, beating the absolute dog shit out of Colin Kaepernick and Nevada Wolfpack. People don't talk about enough.
Not talked about.
But it was important for that program and that team. And now look where they are, still getting poached in a shitty conference. Anyhow, bowls start December 17th in the Bahamas, per usual. Middle Tennessee, Toledo, nobody cares. First bowl that pops up that I do care about the next day, Western Kentucky, who let me down against UTSA the other day.
What was that, 7? And it was an 8-point game? I know you were close.
Western Kentucky was favored by 2.5, and they lost by like 20-something, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, UTSA stomped them. But they're playing App State, which should be a good game. As I keep going here, Utah State's also a team to watch because their quarterback is talked about being one of the top draft picks this year. So that's December 18th, and whatever the hell the Los Angeles Bowl is or the LA Bowl. And then we get into some other names we do know. Brady Hoke and the nearly undefeated San Diego State Aztecs at 11-2, and UTSA in the Frisco Bowl.
So that's a really fun game. I'm happy for both programs. Selfishly, I want to see UTSA up against like a more established power just to see what that like a Wisconsin or something like that, just to see what that would look like. I know that Wisconsin might be a bad example, but I just want to see what that looks like. Nothing to take away from San Diego State because that is going to be a fun-ass game. And it's a home game for UTSA too.
Oh, Frisco.
But San Diego State, they don't travel.
True. Marshall Falk won't be there for him. But then you get Houston, Auburn might be an example of what you're talking about, where you have a smaller school that's on a heater playing a 6-6 Auburn team, the Birmingham Bowl. And then Texas Tech, Mississippi State's getting a lot of social media play because Mike Leach absolutely hates Texas Tech.
Sovereign immunity. That's the one. That's the game I'm looking forward to. I mean, there's a few, but that one, because of just the sound bites you're going to get from Leach, and just see, I'm very curious.
Sonny Cumbie will probably be coaching. McGuire will probably be there.
Cumbie's gone though, right?
Oh, Cumbie took the job at La Tech, so I guess McGuire might be just their coach for the game.
Oh, see what he got.
Yeah. Technically, Sonny Dykes did that for SMU, and it's kind of becoming a thing, like the new coach coming in and coaching. Speaking of SMU, playing in a brand new bowl in Boston at Fenway Park, the Fenway Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
I talked a little bit with our good buddy DJ Bean about the prospect of making a little just trip out to Boston. Be a great place to go see a bowl game, don't you think?
Yeah.
Dylan says no. He hates you Yankees.
If I'm going to Fenway, I'm going to go for a baseball game.
Dude, I've always wanted to go to Fenway to watch a bowl game.
No offense, KJ. Sure it'll be a good time, though.
A weekday bowl game, nonetheless.
What's worse is it's a weekday, as you said. It's a Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern on December 29th. A Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central, where one of the teams is based.
Dude, I'll for sure
8
be
a.m.
watching that.
Pacific. Just
sure.
can't fucking wait. It'll be on the TV in the other room when you guys are recording Wednesday up. Like, you have no interest.
Day, actually.
We should give everybody the day off. Yeah, I mean that sucks because that would be a fun trip. Although that is kind of unstable. I wouldn't want my first Fenway trip to be a football game, also a bowl game.
Like, hey man, you ever been to Fenway Park? Yeah.
At 10 a.m.
Saw the ponies there.
Who are the Sox playing? It was SMU
in Virginia.
In Virginia, and it was football.
Two teams whose coaches are gone. And then you do have some funny named bowls. You have the Duke's Mayo Bowl, formerly the Belk Bowl. And then you've got the Tony the Tiger Bowl back out in El Paso. So
let me say this. Speaking of two teams with coaching moves, OU versus Oregon in the Alamo Bowl.
Wow. That actually should be a pretty easy, not easy. Oklahoma should run the fucking table there if I'm guessing right, because Kennedy Brooks should have a fucking show.
My favorite thing about bowl season is this guy. Man, they really didn't have a reason to play. Like they weren't really playing for anything, so you can't really tell. Like when UTSA or a school like that sneaks up and beats a perennial.
Any credit?
It's like, man, they didn't want to be there. They were upset because they didn't make a New Year's Day bowl.
Texas UGA in the Weeder Back Bowl.
Oh yeah,
UGA
man.
missed the playoff. Like, they don't want to be here, which is probably fair to some degree. But Texas.
But
then maybe they should have better coaching.
Like a really good. It was a Sugar Bowl, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it wasn't like Texas was gifted that bowl. They had a good season.
Wasn't a Gallery Furniture Bowl.
That was their last good season.
That was the "We're Back" sound clip, though.
We're back.
You know what?
Ugga, right?
Fun fact: they were not back.
Okay.
Turns out they were far from back, David. Thank you. Yeah, I watched the season.
All right. Well,
Baylor, Ole Miss. Oh, New Orleans Sugar Bowl. Oh,
we talked Quinn Ewers already.
If I was young, I would go. But I'm not young and I have a kid.
The last big bowls we should at least mention. Baylor, Ole Miss, as he mentioned. Ohio State, Utah in the Rose Bowl. Notre Dame, Oklahoma State in the Fiesta Bowl. And then Peach Bowl's Michigan State, Pittsburgh. Now,
Quinn Ewers.
Let's talk
Q.
Blonde, long-haired teenager.
Q Yunnan.
The bleach blonde, mulleted, 5-star, #1 overall recruit who reclassified from the 2022 class to 2021 to enroll early and skip a senior year of high school. Quinn Ewers is in the transfer portal.
Former Texas commit.
Not only is he in the portal, but he's
already making visits.
Quite vocal about his visits, or his people, I should say.
Yes.
Putting it out there and I think a lot of it's smoke, which we'll get to, but
some interesting things here. And this is, as far as I know, this is someone skipping the senior year of high school. Is this unprecedented as far as you know?
Yeah.
So he did it the same year that the NIL rules were, put in place, where obviously college players can get paid. Excuse me. So he exposed, which seems to be a pretty glaring loophole in the system. So Texas had the rule against What is it, KJ? You can't get paid until
Yeah,
you're
at a high school level, you cannot accept any like money for your athletic performance. So you can't go work at, the high school or the football training academy as a quarterback's coach on the weekend and make money off of your skill set and then go play football in the same city or, sign autographs and then go back and play high school football. The UIL frowns upon that.
So while he was supposed to be a senior in high school, he enrolls at Ohio State, signs a massive NIL deal there, and gets paid. I've seen upwards of like $1.2 million.
Rumored to be, yeah.
As well as he got a brand new vehicle that's like a $75,000 vehicle. Anyway, spends a year there and decides to transfer back to the state of Texas. He's listed Texas, Texas Tech, Texas A&M as his top 3, according to Pete Thamel. Sark had an in-home the other day, which went under the radar until recently. Stopped by his house, and he's visited Texas Tech, and now he's at TCU today, I believe.
KJ.
The phrase in home when you're referring to like someone from South Lake and it's like a large estate, most likely. Like South Lake being one of the most wealthy suburbs in Texas, aside from maybe Westlake. And when I hear in-home visit, like you always think like blue chips, like when they're visiting like Shaq down in like a rundown Louisiana town, and it's like just some, or whoever it was.
Algiers.
Yeah, Algiers, exactly.
Algiers.
Whoever in Chicago where they're like in the rundown apartment. And I'm like, in-home visit, like this is a treat for Sark to be showing up at the Ewers estate. It's almost like Secession showing up at Adrian Brody's house, basically.
So it's interesting what he did, though. I mean, he basically was like, okay, instead of playing my senior year of high school, I'm just going to go spend several months in Columbus, Ohio, and get paid, and then I'll like actually start my college career.
Come back to Texas, and does he have to claim state income tax?
Do you think that's a loophole that they're gonna close up at some point?
Depends on his domicile.
I mean, oftentimes you don't change it when you're in college. It's not your permanent address. I don't think you change it based on him, because I don't think that they were willing to change anything about the state rules just because of him. They tried to call him an anomaly, which he is. He's one of the highest rated recruits, as you mentioned. I feel like we're going to have to see how the rest of his story plays out. I feel like the rest is still unwritten, if you will.
Are you saying you've got bust vibes?
No.
Dylan, do you have bust vibes?
I don't have bust vibes. The kid is obviously a major talent, but I do have shithead vibes.
You're not going to bust?
This kid, and look, I understand that he may choose Texas, and I would love for him to choose Texas because he's a...
Are you hedging this in case he goes to TCU
I'm not hedging.
or Tech?
I'm speaking the truth, knowing that it could come back to bite me in the ass. He just seems like he's going to be a headache wherever he goes. And that's based on mostly his appearance. He just looks like a shithead. He looks like he...
Are you profiling Southlake football players who have been bleaching their hair and doing hair bits for years?
It's not a good look.
I mean,
man.
fleecing the system for a milli.
I hate how good they are. By the way, I got Duncanville this
mullet. I just get shithead vibes from this kid, and that's probably totally unfair. He might be a total gentleman. I don't know.
No one's a gentleman at 18.
You're right.
There's never been.
My official prediction is that he goes to Texas Tech, and that's based mostly on he just feels like a Texas Tech kind of guy.
Why? Because
he's kind of a shithead.
Okay, there you go.
And of course, he visited Lubbock yesterday, I believe.
What?
And
that's big for Lubbock to get that visit. Regardless, that's huge.
That's big. I mean,
hope he's along.
And we've seen what Texas Tech can do with a world-class talent at quarterback, like they did with Mahomes.
What do you mean? What can you clarify? What did they do?
They made a couple playoffs, or maybe it was BCS at that time. They dominated, right? You got to think Super Bowl champion.
No, I just didn't.
Jakeem Grant was there.
No, the coach who is now the coach of the #1 seed in the NFC, Cliff Kingsbury, did not take them to. They didn't.
It's weird when Mahomes was entering the draft and he was getting all this like, oh, he could be a first rounder. I was like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
Dude,
I've seen this guy play. He's not that fucking good.
No,
turns out he's incredible.
He's the one thing when the Chiefs, I think it was the Chiefs. Yeah, when the Chiefs, obviously it was the Chiefs. When they drafted him, I texted Brian McGannon, PGP, former PGP great. And I was like, dude, you're going to fucking love this dude. And this is all based on having seen him in person playing Baylor when they used to play at AT&T Stadium. And I just watched him put on a clinic. Like, just shit throws you've never seen and just putting up like 600 yards of offense. It was insane. And I didn't realize how good the system fit was going to be in Kansas City. But yeah, he was electric, but it felt like he was always hurt. It felt like he had like a shoulder sling on like most of the time, a knee brace, like very Big Ben-esque during some seasons. But I don't know. It wasn't his fault. But if he goes to Tech, good for him that's a school that'll love him and appreciate him. Like if he just goes out there and wins 8 games.
But you got to wonder if Ohio State is notably not a school that would do that. Not because they don't do that for their stars, but respectfully to Ryan Day. Like he had a stable of guys that were there and had been in the system all spring. And I guess it's that balance between, speaking of Cliff Kingsbury, he was noted to also have been involved, or I guess a Spavital, and someone who fucked up one of the best quarterback rooms, and Kingsbury did a little bit at Tech too, where you botch having Manziel, Kyler, and then somebody else at A&M, and then you had Baker Mayfield, Patrick Mahomes, and another quarterback in the room in Lubbock. And I get it. We're not in an age where you can do like Tech used to, where you have people who are willing to sit around and wait their turn, or you shouldn't have to do that at this day and age. But you're getting these kids into the room under some pretense, and it's either you putting too much confidence in their head or them ignoring anything that you're saying, because you saying show up and compete and we're going to, play the best guy, if that's what you're telling them, then clearly that's not what they're hearing, because for him to show up in the fall, not really even get close to playing, and to leave like that, either he doubted, he's a Tate Martell or Jared Goff, or he could just be a Justin Herbert, which Tate Martell, Tathan by birth name.
You love pointing that out.
Noted to be, was a top recruit coming out of high school.
Maybe his plan all along was just to go get paid and then come back to Texas.
Couldn't he have done that? He could have done that at a number of schools.
But yeah, he didn't have to go to Ohio State to do that.
I don't know.
Okay, but it's a high profile school.
That might have driven the number up.
I mean,
yeah.
Hey, fair point. Fair point. Okay.
If he wants to win right now, he should go to A&M. If he wants to be like big man on campus, he should go to Tech or Texas or Texas.
What if he's like Lincoln Riley, just scared of the SEC, dude?
Both are appealing. Honestly, both situations are appealing.
I guess if he goes to Texas, he'll also be in the SEC. Weirdly, that still doesn't click yet. Is that year after next for
23.
sure? 23?
Not for sure, but that's
what everybody's thinking.
That's when BYU's already said that's when we're showing up.
I mean, yours would start right away at Texas and at Texas Tech. I think A&M's a little bit more crowded.
TCU also.
I don't know that I think TCU for sure. I don't think it's that cut and dry at Texas. The same way that I think that people probably said that about him going to Ohio State. Hell, even I anticipated him like getting on a travel roster and getting some reps. And Ryan Day, I don't think is an idiot. And he didn't even have him traveling for half the year, and would do interviews and be like, yeah, he's just taking on a lot. It's a lot for him to move here late, just picking up the system. We've got 2 guys that are solid, and I've never even got close. I think the guy could be very good. Like I said, could be Justin Herbert, where it's just his not ready for that show at Ohio State. Maybe Texas Tech is a better fit for him.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe someone didn't want to stay in Ohio.
You love Ohio.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I respect Ohio. I've established this many times.
He should head back to Waco, to Texas, and go to Waco.
Lubbock is also a beautiful.
Actually,
place.
He don't have.
He just named 2 places that are like the Ohio of Texas.
What, dude? Ohio does not have Chip and Joanna, or Buzzard Billy's on the side of 35. Great place to get some rattlesnake bites when you're really hungover coming back up from Austin. Nobody knows, but if you know, you know. Anything else on college? We just did 54 minutes on college.
This recruitment ends quickly.
No, that's good for college. Real quick on the NFL. I feel like this is multiple weeks in a row where we just punt on the NFL, but shout out to the Lions.
Shout out Dan Campbell, man. Good for him.
Is it fun that, man, we could get Cool Adam in here. I wonder if he watched it.
I don't know if he did or not. I guess I was going to imply that he didn't, but for those who pay attention on Thursdays or on social media, we got a little thing called Dip Picks going on all year. And the guests have been whipping our ass all year long. And the guest this week, Cool Adam, our intern, picked the Lions to lose, as they should have, to the Vikings.
And he's a big Lions fan.
And he's from Detroit, and he's a Lions fan, picked against his team.
He made that pick in a Stafford jersey, for the record.
And the Lions won the game.
Redemption for Goff. Last second throw. Great drive. You cannot leave Goff that much time.
A lot of people have said that a lot.
Hey, that was fun. Fun for Dan Campbell.
Fun for Kristen Harper. If you're familiar, Jared Goff is a fortunate human being who's in a relationship.
Look her up here.
Is Siga. The link is in the rundown.
Okay.
But Sports Illustrated posted a little clip of her finding out that Jared had won his first game as a Lion, and she was so happy for him. And I'm so happy for her. And I'm more happy that Sports Illustrated shared her with us.
I tried to spell her name without looking at this link, and
it is not at all.
This is very South Lake.
At all.
All right, let's see. I'm not familiar
Kristen,
with her.
Christen.
Hang on, mash that Awooga button.
Okay. You saw me lean back. I'm not trying to get double bonked in an ep.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, shouts to Kristen. And I don't even know why we should be congratulating Ben Roethlisberger for winning a effing game at this age, but
it's his last year, right?
It is a little sad to know that he knows it's the end.
Well, that was a fun game. That was like the most fun I had watching anything yesterday. Shout out to Harbaugh for going for 2.
Mm-hmm.
Love that move. Didn't work out.
Did it work out, Dylan, whose big boy stack was on that game?
I needed them to kick the extra point. My only chance for covering was a touchdown and OT.
I was honestly, I was thinking that the whole time.
-4, man.
Yeah.
So that ended it for me, whether they got it or not.
Great play call. It was there. Lamar had somebody. He had a lot of pressure. I'm going to give him a break. I'm not ready to say I'm out on Lamar. But that was a fun game.
He's the most hot and cold quarterback I've ever seen, man.
At some point, using your 4th, 5th, or 6th running back is going to catch up with a team that's like predominantly dependent on a strong run game. You know?
That's also true.
Not to give them an excuse because they played so well to start the year, but sheesh, like they've had 7 or 8 different running backs in the backfield this year. Should the Cowboys be concerned with having to play Taylor Heineke 2 times in 3 weeks?
Absolutely.
Or
did they lose Logan
being a winning quarterback for the Eagles?
More so the former.
And shoot, no.
Did they lose Logan Thomas?
Yeah.
For the year?
Yes.
Fuck, that's my tight end. He's been really good too.
Dude, that's a good football team. Like they're playing really well. That kid's got some moxie, whatever word you want to use there.
He's a gamer. Heineke is Romo light.
That's who someone compared him to Romo this morning on one of the shows. Forgot who it was, but good call.
They'll probably split those games. That wouldn't shock me. They've got 5 games left, 4 in the division, correct? Yeah, 2 against Washington, 1 against Philly, 1 more against New York, maybe, and then Arizona. Philly's the last game of the season. But, yeah, I mean, they should, dude. They have not – they won Thursday night. They beat a Saints team whose quarterback is, first of all, not a quarterback. Second of all, had a busted-ass finger with a splint on it.
Man, 5 weeks ago, it looked like this last little run would be just like smooth sailing for the Cowboys. It's gotten much more difficult.
It's the NFL teams. Most good teams, they have these stretches, but like the offense is just. It looked better, but it didn't look good. Dak's still missing some easy throws. He's having some great throws, but he's missing some easy ones. He's forcing some balls, and Zeke's hurt and needs. Luckily, thank God they've got 10 days off after that last game because Zeke doesn't need to be out there. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they should be, KJ, and I know you're loving it, but
I'm not loving it. I'm just saying it's how many times are the Cowboys going to have to play a quarterback who is not tabbed to be the starting quarterback for a team who throws 4 interceptions in a game and they put up 20 points, if that offensively, because it was 27 plus a defensive touchdown.
They have no run game right now.
And they're looked at to be still like a top threat in the NFC. And like that picture's faded. I don't think anybody thinks, okay, we have a shot at the bye. I shouldn't say we, but that they have a shot at the bye. Now,
no,
I think that they've got to at least be wise enough to be like, hey, if we F around and lose more than 2 games down the stretch, we might not make Well, I guess you don't have to make the win the division. There's an extra wild card. We might not win the division.
Yeah, that would be an absolute embarrassment to limp into the playoffs as the wild card.
They could turn around and win it all because if they're all healthy at that point, it could be great. But it's pathetic the way that they're playing right now, even with that win.
Sure. Very fair. You know, it's not pathetic. Guys, my Rothys, the most versatile shoe, something that I can wear with like a suit, and even like sweatpants, just whenever, every day, with my jeans, my chinos, whatever.
I don't know if it's a talking point, but it should be their comfort, how comfortable they are.
That is a talking point, yes.
Okay, good. I was going to say, if not, I need to write that in. Oh my gosh, these things are comfortable.
You're talking, of course, about the Rothy's soft, flexible material combined with their wildly comfortable insoles that make them like one of the most wearable shoes out there.
A lot of shoes in this class of shoe, they wear on your heel. You know, you got to like do like a little Band-Aid situation back there. Not these, man.
No.
They're the most comfortable heels in a shoe that I have, especially when you put them on and you pull them back a little bit. You don't even need sometimes I can do it without any hands. But I have, yes, I know.
Dude, athlete.
That's sick.
I've got the sneakers, the olive green sneakers, and every single time I put them on, I'm like, okay, my day is taking another direction because I kind of, I'm not just wandering out in any old shoe. I'm like, all right, well, I can now go somewhere respectable. I can go to the grocery store. It fits every vibe I'm trying to have in a day.
Let's say you get them a little dirty.
Yeah.
Maybe you're pouring up a cup of Boomin' Loud and you spill a little bit on your shoes. Their shoes are 100% machine washable thanks to their sustainably made material. So you never have to worry about dirtying them up. How about that?
It's a lifesaver. I'm glad you reminded me of that. I got a little rust on them this weekend, so I'm going to toss those bad boys in the washer, and I'll be back next week with some fresh kicks.
Damn.
The driving loafer was just named one of Time's 100 best inventions of 2021 in the style category, calling it an ideal shoe for the late pandemic era. That's a pretty big flex there, huh? Time Magazine, how about that? Hey, to help you get a head start on holiday shopping this year, Rothy's is doing something special. That's right. They gave us a chance to share this super rare opportunity with our listeners for a limited time. Right now, you can get $20 off your first purchase at rothys.com/bang. That's ROTHYS.com/bang. Head to rothys.com/bang to snare a pair, I said that really weird, a pair of men's or women's shoes for yourself or someone else. $20 off your first purchase at rothys.com/bang. Do you guys want to rap about something else while I run to the gents room?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
While you're doing that, I will give a quick rundown on F1 because I don't know if you caught the race this weekend.
I caught zero of it, KJ.
Well, let me fill you in on a little segment I like to call. I won't even pretend to call it Formula BBBONE, but
okay.
The second to last race in the F1 Championship Series, as we've talked about all year, Hamilton and Verstappen have been kind of neck and neck, if you will, with Verstappen being understood to have the better car all year and really winning, I won't say the majority of the races, but it was kind of assumed Verstappen would win unless something happened, freak incidents or just qualifies poorly, whatever it might be, penalties, whatever. This race in Saudi Arabia was on a fairly new track, and one that after seeing it in action made me think back to what is that really, really nice Monaco. Makes me think of Monaco, which that race I absolutely hated. Beautiful scenery, but it was like no
the track
it's all curves.
It's like a single lane track. It's almost impossible to pass on.
So it's not quite that bad in Saudi Arabia, but you have a lot of areas where it is a lot of blind, tight curves and sequential curves. And then you have some longer stretches where you can get a little bit of DRS action going. Well, what that led to is the first half of the race, you couldn't even get like 10 laps straight without a caution flag or without the virtual pace car coming back out. So there's a lot of strategy on the front end. In fact, Hamilton, I believe, had the lead for quite a bit. And due to a caution, Mercedes had Hamilton and Bottas pit, and Verstappen and Red Bull said, we're not going to pit. Well, then they got a red flag, not that's a penalty or anything, but they had a red flag, and so they got a free pit to where you can switch tires without having to pit and giving up position earlier. Okay. So boom, one strategy point in Verstappen's favor. That put him in the lead for a big chunk of the remainder of the race. And Hamilton was very close for quite a bit. And then we had a couple different incidents. Tight turn, Hamilton tries to overtake, and Verstappen, I don't know that it would be fair to say that he what do you call it? That he started the contact or whatever, or like caused the initial contact.
Talking about the brake check?
No, before that.
Okay.
There were two different incidents. So the first one where he basically just closed Hamilton out, like it was close, but eventually he was awarded a 5-second penalty later on in the race. That comes into play because later on, whenever he gets this penalty or before he gets the penalty, he was being told, go ahead and yield the position back to Hamilton. In most courses or tracks, usually the racer in the front will kind of pull over. You'll see the other one overtake, and they'll just continue on about their business. But because of all these curves and the way that this course is laid out, basically what Verstappen wanted to do is he didn't want to give up that position right then and there when they were saying, okay, go ahead and give up position. Well, he's like, yeah, well, I'm going to wait until I get to an area that I can then DRS and retake immediately.
Makes sense.
And so he's basically hogging the middle lane. And then later when he's ready to give up position, like Verstappen kind of gets over and then like slams on his brakes a little bit and brake checks Hamilton, or as Hamilton called it, brake tested, which caused Hamilton break the front wing of his car, which obviously every little bit matters, but Mercedes was like, it looks fine, just keep going. Well, now the stewards were still figuring out the first contact. In the midst of this, they award a 5-second penalty. So Verstappen knows he's in front of him, and now he's still has not given up position after that brake check. He's still in front of him. So later he waits until a turn, gives up position. Hamilton takes the advantage, and immediately Verstappen slips behind him after he overtook him. So he gave up position, but he did it in an area where he immediately took back over first place. What screwed over Verstappen was that tire change earlier. Eventually those tires let him down, because after that, at some point, his tires just started, losing traction. I don't know what tires they put on, hard, mediums, whatever, but he ended up being like seconds slower than what Hamilton's pace was, 2 seconds slower, 3 seconds slower. At the end of the day, Hamilton ended up winning by like 20 seconds, which was just nuts because of this whole back and forth thing down the stretch. And then Valtteri Bottas was in 4th place for the majority of the race, or a big part of the race. And I don't recall his name. Ocon was in 3rd up until the last 100 yards before the finish line. And Bottas reminded people that he too is a very good racer, and put about as pretty of a move you can imagine, like right before the line on Ocon, and stole a podium away. And they showed the in-car clip from Ocon as Bottas is passing him, and he's just beating the shit out of his driving wheel or steering wheel, which I'm like, dude, you're still driving like 180. Like, let's fucking let's
not jerk the wheel.
Let's not get too wild here. But yeah, it was an insane finish, and now Hamilton and Verstappen tied.
Going into the final race of the season.
One last race this weekend, 7 a.m. on Sunday morning in Dubai.
You know what? Verstappen's reckless, and I think they should kick him off the tour. And I don't even think he should be able to race next week. How about that?
I don't like that.
A lot of money would be lost if he did not race next week. And
probably.
A lot of people would say that it was rigged for Hamilton if so.
Probably. And, there might be some hyperbole in that, but
Christian Horner would personally show up and just look at you weirdly.
Are there any conspiracies out there that, like, now that this sport, which feels like it's at an all-time high popularity-wise,
at least in the U.S., yeah, for sure.
The U.S. has finally caught on that they're like, maybe there's a conspiracy that they're making it extra, dramatic at the end here with these guys, these two badasses tied going in the final race.
They don't need it. That's the thing.
I was at my brother's yesterday, and those were that was my gut reaction once I saw it. Was like,
this feels
very
too perfect.
Convenient.
Yeah, this feels a little too perfect. I mean, it's exciting as hell, though.
The fact that they are legitimately tied going into the last race is like all they need. They don't need I don't know. It does make it makes it juicier, but I mean
The tie is what I meant.
Yeah.
Like to set up
Oh,
a
yeah,
tie
yeah,
so
okay.
that to make this finish like
Easier
extra
to
exciting.
understand for people.
So what would be the worst case outcome here? Like for some
One of
reason,
them wrecks, gets and
or
can't
Russell
finish.
or some other Sonoda probably in this situation wrecks both of them or some shit.
Yeah, and then you have
Toto
like
walks out there and
an asterisk.
unsheaths a fucking 10-foot sword and does work.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I look, I'm notorious for tuning in like the last 25 minutes of these things. I will probably tune into the last 35 minutes of the race this weekend.
It's 7 a.m. I ain't got that in me, but I will.
Dubai.
I will go back and watch it. I already know Will is great for letting us know when shit's going on across the pond in the group text.
Mm-hmm.
Either I need Will to tell me at 8 a.m., hey, get this shit on, it's good, or don't tell me anything so I can watch it at like 2.
That's fair.
There's your F1 update.
It's a good F1 update. I apologize for stepping out.
Welcome to the BBBBONE zone.
Is it time to party?
We already partied.
I cucked the party earlier. The only thing I was going to do in party was report. If you haven't paid attention, maybe you should check out the Billy Donovan Chicago Bulls. They're 16-8. They're doing very well. Alex Caruso is still that guy.
Wow. Didn't think we were getting a 16-8 Chicago Bulls update at the end of this thing, but here we are.
Yeah.
We have a super short run it back. You guys want to knock it out real quick and get out of here?
Let's do it.
Special guest appearance.
By who? Oh, Wilmots. Oh,
Barry Rigby, of
Barry,
course.
Of course, Barry Rigby. All right, time to run it back. The segment during which we talk about what we already talked about. KJ was bonked less than a minute into the effort. Maybe a record.
I've never seen it before.
Rucker Park in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Same.
Very similar.
KJ is looking at random smut sites on the web during the podcast.
Calm down.
Not my Wi-Fi.
Caught ya. Dylan will be twirling Dave's girl on the dance floor during Michigan UGA.
A lot going on.
Yeah. KJ nearly was double bonked during this episode.
Close.
of
Stewards
course-
decided no penalty awarded.
Of course, happy Hanukkah.
Hanukkah
Oh.
just wrapped up, I believe, last night or maybe tonight. Who knows? But shouts to all
Very
those
cool.
who observe.
Shout
But
out
a
to
fun
Victor
episode.
Hovland,
And Micah Weiner.
winner of the Hero Challenge.
Oh.
Hey, you got to read that Jupe Life article.
Yeah, we should do it.
What? Huh?
Jupiter.
Jupiter, Florida. Golf Digest.
Next time when we're this close in proximity to a conversation
Yes.
about Hanukkah, let's
Sure.
enunciate.
Oh, yeah. Jupe. As in Jupiter, Florida.
Not about mint julips.
No, we should do that. We should read that and talk about it on the live stream Thursday night, 6:30 Central Standard Time.
Book report.
Very cool.
Central Time.
Fun episode, guys. I love you. I love you, bud.
Really fun. We will
Bye-bye.
see you Thursday for more antics.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I want my chips with the dip. That's all I know. I don't want my chips plain. I want my chips with the dip. So bring them dips.